Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to Champions Talk. I'm your host, Yusuf Olowole Komo. I'm here with my co-host, Madam Nelly.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. And we have our guest here, Mr. David Ipkaibi.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, can you please tell us about your background? Introduce yourself to us, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate Champions Talk, and I'm glad to be here. My name is David Ipkaibi. I'm from Cross River State, and I'm a journalist by profession.
Oh, okay. As we've known, you are the newly elected president of West African Boxing Union, which is WABU. Can you tell us how that came about and how you got involved in the boxing world?
Well, as we all know, sports is something we are all interested in. For the fact that I'm also coming from the media aspect, and as a journalist, I love sports. And when the appointment came around, I was glad to hold it and work with it, because sport generally in Nigeria is something we really need to restructure in such a way that we can be able to project the image of our country, Nigeria, and the entire West Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, but talking about sports generally in Nigeria, do you think it is in its right space?
If you look at the way sport is going in Nigeria presently, I would say it's not in the right space, in the sense that we are yet to give sport that leverage that will enable us to push the entire sports categories, ranging from football to boxing to race and the rest of other sports. We are yet to get there, in the sense that there is a whole lot that the government needs to do for us to project the image of sport in Nigeria and let our athletes, everyone that is involved, to be seen in the international standard.
Well,
What suggestion do you mean, like, in what regard do you think the government can improve this sports so it can be in the level of the Western world?
Okay, for instance, in Nigeria, we have the sport minister, the minister in charge of sports. Is that correct? Am I correct?
Yes.
Very, very good. And presently, Senator John Owan Eno, who happens to hail from Cross River State, that is my own state, is the minister in charge of sports. And I know that as a government, there is an allocation for sports that will enable us to groom our grassroots to meet up with standard, and also to look at the infrastructure of sports. For instance, if you go to National Stadium now, you will see things that will make you to come back and ask yourself a question. Do we actually have a place that we can groom from the grassroots, that people can come for practice and get trained to become Okocha of tomorrow and get trained to become Anthony Joshua? When you look at these, and I know there are allocations for sports, that if there is serious management without mismanagement of fund, and the government being involved in every aspect of our sports, we will meet up with international standard.
so, sir, I have a question. You just talked about involving the government in sports and all. My question is this. Are you saying that the government is not really paying due attention to sports in Nigeria? Because looking at it, you see football and many other kind of sports, they're finding it difficult to build themselves to the standard of other people outside there, in terms of competition and many more. Nigerian football team can barely meet up with the
Ghanaian counterparts and so on.
Imagine. So there are too many issues going on now. So we need to know, is it that the government is not really paying due attention to these people, or it is the officials involved that are mismanaging the funds?
Good. You've answered the question that I'm about to say. Because when we talk about the government being involved, The government on its own, they might be trying their best to release fund. But I have mentioned here before, and you just mentioned it, mismanagement of fund. This is the reason why administratively, everything that has to do with our sports, who are the stakeholders, who are the board that are in charge, who are the monitoring team in charge. I know we are talking about sports today, but I want to give you one instance in the area of when a supervisor, when a minister in charge of a particular development in Nigeria is active in his duty, what always come out. For instance, recently, there's a lot of development of road, the coastal road from Lagos to Calabar. And recently, there was a little bridge that between Onikom Bridge and VI that needs a particular iron that needs to be merged that will enable the bridge not to fall. And that bridge was to be closed for 21 days. But because the minister, David Umai, the minister in charge, came there, I told you I'm a journalist, we cover all. He came there, he inspected it, and as a result of that, the next day, what happened? That issue was fixed within 3 days. Now, you are in charge of, you are the minister of sport. When last did you visit the national stadium? For instance, let's say for instance, the government are fully supervising what will make us to grow. Ask me, if I go to national stadium now and I say, okay, where is the office of the chairman in charge of African Boxing Union? You won't be surprised what will be shown to you. It's the reason why for us to move to groom every aspect of sport in Nigeria, there is going to be a whole lot of restructuring. Put people who are not corrupt to mount that position. And not only look at what we enter the pocket, but look at how we can develop our country. You know what sport can do when we come to tourism. We can use boxing to bring a whole lot of people in Nigeria to come and watch that a new champion has emerged in Nigeria. You know, each time I see Anthony Joshua lift up the British flag, I always shed tears. I say, will there be a time that we'll be able to groom from Bariga, local champion, someone that we have seen? Because in Nigeria, we have talent. We have youth, vibrant, that can be able to lift the image of this nation to international standard. If we have those promoters that have the same mindset, that look, we are not looking at the present, we are looking at the future to move our country forward, of which even in the area of income will come when you plan well, not what you will finish the next day.
Yeah. According to what you just said now, you know, there needs to be a lot of check and balance done.
Thank you.
You know, you can't just put people in place and not check up on them.
Not checking on them.
Like you said, in regards to the road and stuff like that. There was controversy regarding the initial WABU president. You know, apparently was taken out due to mismanagement of funds, abuse of power, and co.
Okay.
As the new president of WABU, how do you plan to implement your changes to avoid such issues occurring in future?
Okay. You see, maybe I will bring in biblically. They say, when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? His period, the foundation at which he was operating on, was not well built, was not well developed. Is the reason why the entire board see his performance that he cannot continue, because that result that is expected of him is not seen out there. And they made, I think that press release was on the 14th of April of this April.
Yeah.
The press release was on the 14th of April for him.
to be taken
go
off.
down.
Yeah.
I might not use this opportunity to drive in to what he has done and what he has not done, but African Boxing Union as a body, they have been able to appraise him and see that he is no longer fit to be
For
there
that position.
and then make their decision. So if peradventure he is still
battling for the position,
or he's still being how will I call it, loggerhead with the decision of the governing body of ABU, it is still ABU that we have a way to set his matter on the right channel.
But
As
this
for me,
this has been going on for quite a long time now. So do you mean to say that ABU is patiently waiting for him to admit and really come to a realization that he's no longer the president of the...
Automatically, ABU has already sent a release, press release, and a letter he's been served with a letter. So he knows, and anything he do going forward, he can be termed as a criminal offense to the body. And that can fetch one to be in the prison.
Because last I read, Dr. Ladipo, who is the president of MBFC, claimed they had not received any updates from the ABU body, but that was back in February. It's 2 months over, and I'm sure they would have either contacted them for your appointment.
That was in February.
Yes.
And this development took place in this April.
Okay.
So the update has been done. The board is aware. So on my own platform, coming in as the chairman, I don't want to look at the other way around. But what my focus is how can we groom African boxing to international standard, that we can be able to push our fighters to the world stage. We need to push our fighters to the world stage. And that can only be done if the promoters who bring these children from the grassroots, because like I said, we have vibrant youth that want to become Anthony Joshua. If the promoters can be able to come for us to, which is part of my duty, to bring promoters together, let them know the vision of the new leadership that is on. The vision is for us to ensure that we groom the grassroots to the best that can represent Nigeria. And if there are things they have been doing that is outside the rules and regulation of ABU, I come from a background that works with integrity. And I come from a background that anything that has to do with bribe is against our principle. Because I know it's a podcast. I might not want to introduce everything that I am, because I'm a sitting pastor in the Redeemed Christian Church of God.
President of the Lord.
So I won't be involved in a position that will lift the image of my country. And I will be found wanting. If there is any other thing that will take me out of that office, it shouldn't be that, it's corruption, is bad image. Anything that will take me out of my position should be that I'm being promoted to the next level. And the next person, I hand over to the next person. Just like when I was looking at the whole thing, I was like, this thing is a thing that the whole board will say, the handing over there is coming. Then the person that was there, is handing over to the next person, and we are all here as stakeholders and we are ready to work with you, is what I'd expect. But I know maybe gradually it's going to take place as the work commences, because the appointment has just been very new. And I know that with the effort of everyone, we can be able to change the narratives in the boxing world.
Sir, you talked about gathering the young and then doing this promotion thing to revive the minds of the young one.
Good.
You see, currently you'd see boxing as a poor sport.
Good.
So my question is this: how do you think the minds of the young ones can be revived concerning sports in Nigeria, boxing to be precise?
See, it's only a layman that will see boxing as a poor man's sport. But as far as the world is concerned and the development of the world is concerned, you and I know that boxing is not a poor man competition or sport. In the sense that for today, if Anthony Joshua pass here, what do you think will happen? Everyone will want to check him. Do you understand what I mean? Because he has become a celebrity through sports.
Yes.
He is well to do through sports. He has lived the image of the British government through sports. And that can happen in Nigeria. The only thing is orientation. If we are able to give them that orientation, that look, you are going somewhere. You are starting in Nigeria. You are starting in Togo. You are starting in Cote d'Ivoire. You are starting in Ghana. Tomorrow you are not going to be where you are. You will be somewhere to represent Nigeria and raise Nigerian flag very high. And you know that name alone has make you famous. The moment you become famous, are you a poor person?
No.
You are no longer poor. When you arrive at the airport, the press men, the TV stations, the radio station, they will gather to hear from you what you bring back, the trophy you bring back, the glory you bring back to the country. So boxing is never a layman or a poor man sport. It's just our mentality. And the moment we change it in the life of the youth, someone can say, tomorrow I'm going to be Anthony Joshua.
Saying this, you mentioned how the Minister of Sports is going to engage and study stuff. Do you plan to engage government in your?
The government is part of the governing body of every sport.
Actively part.
You and I cannot go and create a national stadium or a sporting event so big like the stadium with our own resources.
Yeah.
But the government does. And every glory of the sport goes to the government. Just like as I'm saying now, if a promoter spots a little boy at Bariga here, or which at times I pass and I see them throwing punch, practicing, building. If one comes from that dungeon, tomorrow he will no longer be in that dungeon. If the government comes in, like you said, yes, the board has the power to write to the government. Any allocation that is meant for this, for us to develop this angle, because that sport is still going to bring back return to our economy, which the government itself will still do what? We still enjoy. Is the reason why it's very, very important that the government comes in. By the time I look at every role I'm expected to play, and it is my duty to write to the Minister of Sport, I will write to the Minister of Sport. And every other advice that I need to seek from the WABU president, Housin Hauchi, I will write. And every support that is needed, either for Nigeria, either for Ghana, either for Togo, either for Cote d'Ivoire, I will communicate to everyone because I have members that work with me within the Western region. And by the special grace of God, we will change the boxing career in Nigeria and in West Africa.
Amen. Amen. Currently, the festival, Nigeria Sports Festival, is going on. I was privileged to be at the Lagos State's Testing Balogun Stadium, and I noticed the boxers, like you said, the upcoming grassroots boxers, they were training and having their trials on concrete.
I have mentioned it before, that these are the challenges we have. Infrastructure. You go to the place, it's not a place that are meant to even fight. And I tell you, if you ask the organizers there, the coordinators there, where is the first aid box? If there's an injury, you won't see one.
Funny enough, I made a query about that. Okay, now let's say because some private persons have donated rings and boxing bags and even built privately, which was very commendable. However, because I think there was due to some damages, they couldn't use it at that point. You had to improvise. So I said, "Where's the nurse?" And it's just the nurse.
That is exactly what we're saying. So the moment there is a restructuring, these things will work. We have them. And we have the human resources to make them work. And the moment the right people mount the right position, things will work better.
So honestly, you are saying hard facts, but there is something troubling my mind now.
Okay.
During our conversation with our previous guest,
okay,
he made mention of, boxing in the government sector and then the private sector. Okay. We have some private organizations who finance their boxers to certain levels, and then it goes on and on like that. These things you have just mentioned, how do you enforce this change to affect boxing generally in Nigeria? And again, is there any governing rule, any general rule abiding boxing as a whole in Nigeria that helps organizations to stand by and know that, okay, we have specific rules and regulations, there are embargoes, there are limits to what we do and what we cannot do? Is there anything like that?
Yes. African Boxing Union has regulations. They have rules. And each promoter knows these rules. Because these rules are being communicated. You understand? It's the reason why at times when I look at, for instance, now recently, this celebrity fight between Portable and Speed Darlington. You understand? Okay, you see, things like that. It looks as a normal just celebrity play role. But these are areas that you look at. If on their own want to develop that as a passion, it is someone that one can use to go for international competition. There are rules governing every aspect of boxing, from sanctions to everything. And these rules are meant to be followed. It's because there is no strong body to effect everything. It's the reason why you see everyone coming from the back door. I'm the one in charge of this. It's my private one. It ought not to be. It ought not to be. Whether you're coming from a private angle or you're coming from not a private angle, you are to fit in. It's the reason why the promoters are not expected to come out of their own for the fact that they are sponsoring a boxer and now claim they want to take that boxer out without the governing body. It doesn't work that way. So there are rules that must be followed. Strict rules that must be followed.
So what are your expectations from the government, from WABU and then ABU? What are your expectations from them?
ABU has given us the platform that, look, we are working to elevate boxing career in Africa. Each government knows the allocation that is meant for them. They knows what they are to do. The board knows their rules, their regulations, and what to do. And if each and every one is ready to work, then we are good to go.
There was an issue. A lot of promoters, they have issues with the sanctioning body, Nigerian Board of Boxing Control.
Okay.
In issues where sometimes your fighter will fight, the results will be given off, even though that happens sometimes, or you might feel like, oh, my boxer won, didn't win. What body is there to oppose such decisions? Because most times I think the body that opposes is in UFC. So what body is meant to oppose a wrong decision or a query?
ABU is the body. Because the reason why some of these things happen this way is when a particular fight, the right judges, they are not there. They are not put in place.
The right judges?
Yes.
How do you mean?
Okay. In a boxing, he talks about either Someone win and it looks as if he doesn't win. Because of what? It's because of corruption. Because on a normal note, we have one referee. We have 3 judges that mount for any fights with a supervisor. How then one win and the other one later is the one that is declared as a winner? It's because there is what? There is foul play. And that has to be addressed. So it takes one whom will not take no for an answer
An
to fix it.
incorruptible judge.
An incorruptible judge.
Yeah, but the judge is under the MBBFC. Now, the decision is being made by the head management. So, like, for example, the secretary or whatever is saying, no, let it go. What can the judge really do? Is there any other body that can come and query, like, as a form of police, to say, no, we need to check and balance this to make sure that you guys are not just...
Within the council of the ABU is something that can be revisited.
Yeah.
So the board still stand to revisit such. Is the reason why one can come up with a petition. I won the fight. Why didn't you give me my belt? I'll go to court.
Yeah.
And it has to be revisited. It's part of the reason why even a lot of things has to be on camera. Just like we play football and they say, it's penalty kick. Who caused it? This is how it is. It's wrong. They will say, hold on. They will do a slow playback, a replay to spot the right decision. So the moment, like I said, the right team are ready to put in their best without looking bright, corrupt, means everything will be okay.
Sir, we all know it's quite difficult to banish corruption from a system.
Okay.
So as a new leader in the system, what do you think you would do, or what steps are you looking at? That, okay, when I do this, I think this will help to banish corruption and misappropriation of funds in the system.
There is no approach of corrupt practicing that does not come with a signal. There is no approach of corrupt practicing that does not come with a signal. So if you welcome the signal, you are in. But if you don't welcome the signal, everyone will be running away when they come with anything that has to do with corruption.
So how do you intend to fight the forces? You know, there are situations where one man can stand for the truth and he is surrounded by other men who doesn't want to, go in line with what he wants. So how do you intend to stand the test of time in this position?
Well, I don't have the power, but God has the power. But all what I will do is to be very strict, direct, and truthful. And every report I send to the overall president has to be truth and nothing but that. Any other authority that comes in, they need to go with that. And you know one thing, there is a way you build your leadership without being told. The next one that will come, we tell the next one, don't go there.
Set a standard.
Please.
He will not bend. So that standard has to be there. And I pray that standard will come.
So how long is the duration of your leadership?
Well, it can be 5 years. It can be 10 years. It can be 15 years. I am not the one to decide that. I'm not the one to decide that.
Being in the media world, how do you plan to use your influence of media to improve sports in general in Nigeria?
To give it a broadcast. To give it a broadcast. If every of my promoters come and then we have a particular event to cover, the media team will be there to put it to the outside world.
Wow.
I will do all my best to do that, to make that happen. I was in the office when everyone was coming. Oh, congratulations. Oh, congratulations. I said, congratulations for what? We saw your news on our sport news. And that happened to be my office. You understand? So that is how it's going to be. Because presently, we know that the media is the strongest tools to send information in a twinkle of an eye. So when once we are having an event, the media coverage will be on ground to ensure that we show ourselves to the outside world. Because I really want, like I keep mentioning, I want another Anthony Joshua to come from the grassroots, either from Togo, either from Cote d'Ivoire, either from Ghana, either from Nigeria. And I'm also passionate to come from Nigeria.
Yes. Calabar, as you said.
Wow, this has been so beautiful. So, one last question from me, sir. What are your future plans for young sports participants?
Okay. My plans?
In general.
In general?
Yeah.
In general, if you are a footballer, wherever you are training, have the passion and the zeal. You can be picked to international world. If you are a boxer, either from Bariga, either from Munchi, do your best. Practice very well. You will be spotted. And the moment you are spotted, God can change your story. So my encouragement is, whatever career you are in, don't be discouraged. Keep pushing. The lights will shine. And you will be there. And you will be celebrated.
Yeah, so far from grassroots to the promoters to the international body, you've given points on how you plan to influence and change the operations for the better.
Good.
I pray as a pastor that you are, that all your plans come true and you're able to make Nigeria a better place for...
It will come true.
Amen.
Oh, sir, sorry. Something just dropped in my mind. I'm so sorry. So, talking about the ex-president of
WABU?
Yeah.
Yes.
When a person used to be in a position, he has some men he works with hand in hand.
Good.
So, has ABU been able to fish out those people who have been working hand in hand? Corruption does not just play like that.
I know.
So, is there anything done to pick out those people who have been in alignment with his ways to take them out of their position? Has anything of such been done?
Well, he was the principal player. So those working under, they are not known. He was the one known. It's the reason why it's difficult for the governing body to fish out those one. But how will you discover that? You that is going into that shoe, they will come. Their approach will come. You get the point?
Yeah.
The approach of those ones that have been working will come. And when they come, you know them. And you know how to play with them. And you give them your standard. If they are good with it, fine. If they are not good with it, that means they cannot work with you.
Yeah.
And those that will work with you with your standard, you run with them. Because it's a vision. And it's a mission that we must accomplish.
Earlier this month, there was a flyer going around with WABU saying there was going to be a WABU. They were fighting for a WABU belt, even though the ban was in place at the time. What happens if the ex-president still plans to go ahead and do shows that claiming to still be the president? What do you do, or how do you plan to sort that?
Okay, like I stated before, that this appointment was given by the body. And the body has already sent a press release, which promoters are aware of. So, any promoter that do anything with someone that has been removed of his office, you are doing it at your own risk. That is number one. You are doing it at your own risk. That is number one. And whoever has been removed from that position and you go ahead claiming that you are still in authority is a criminal offense. And a report will get to ABU president. And when that kind of report go out, that means you are in trouble. that means you want to fight ABU yourself. ABU can come up with their lawyer and they can file a case against you, and that can land you in prison. So, as it is, I was aware of it. I don't want to mention the promoter. I know the promoter. I was aware of it. When we saw it, we filed. My own is to file a report. It's not a physical fight. I'm not going there to fight him. I'm not going to tell him, why did you do this? You have to stop? No. It's right up. So I file a report to tell that, look, this man is still operating. So it's now left for the body, ABU body, to say, look, when this kind of a report comes to us, we take legal action. Yeah. So it is the duty of ABU to take legal action on anything contrary to what they have issued out before now.
When the report actually became public, the initial president, the ex-president, he put out a story, I think it was on the Punch News, and he said, how could a president of another body evict or take out a president of another body? He said he didn't feel it was appropriate or it was allowed for the president of ABU to take him out.
Did he appoint himself? That is the question. For instance, now, I was given a letter, and I know the body that gave me a letter. If tomorrow that body say, step down, I will not stand and say, so long I become the president of WABU, ABU has no right to take me off. That is wrong. You don't fight, you don't bite the finger that fed you. That is what our old man said. So that is what he's doing. So, and he's doing it at his own risk. So when legal action takes effect, the whole world will still know about it.
Sure.
And the media will still talk about it. And I pray I will be alive, we'll still talk about it on this Champions.
Amen.
Wow. It's been very beautiful and lovely to have you here. So much knowledge have been going past and forth. From the foundation, to the promoters, to the ground boxers, to the MBBOC, to the ABU, you've enlightened us and you told us of how you plan to, make everything a better place for everyone. And we appreciate you for that. Madam Lely?
I admire the fact that he speaks like a steadfast man.
Yeah.
He stands for truth and clarity. I trust that he will do well in his position. Yeah. Thank you for coming, sir. We really appreciate your presence.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. I am glad, I'm happy that I'm here with you. Thank you, the entire crew of Champions Talk Podcast. When there's an opportunity for me to be here on this seat, for us to talk about sports, most especially the field that I'm working right now, which is the boxing, I am available for us to talk and see how we can be able to use the media to send messages to the outside world. Thank you so much. Grateful.
So, I believe we've covered, unless you have any more questions, I believe we've covered every nooks and crannies from like I say again, from the foundation to the training ground and the promoters. You plan to help them query in case they have issues with the sanctioning board. You have plans on how to cleanse the whole system to make it better. Like I said again, I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Mr. David Ipkaibi.
Thank you so much.
It was lovely to have you here today, and hopefully we can see you some overtime during your furtherment of your government.
It's okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.